watching Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We thank you so much for joining us. Our guest is Anthony Adams. Anthony is a member of the California State Assembly, so we're glad you're here. Welcome back from Sacramento. You slept probably God knows how many nights in the legislature. How was it for you?
It was very grueling. We spent an enormous amount of time, over 20 hours actually on the floor, and I was up for over 36 straight hours just trying to help get the budget negotiated and sealed. And technically it wasn't a budget, it was a budget, revised, but there were a lot of important decisions that had to be made and a lot of priorities that needed to be established, and I'm not kidding you, that was a difficult task.
Well, let's talk about the priorities, because we know just objectively that this budget revise was the biggest downscaling of California government in its history.
Right.
Now, some would say small government is better. Others would say this is just completely draconian.
Right.
What's your sense?
My sense of the matter is the government did need to reduce in size. The fact of the matter is there's nothing intrinsically wrong with government trying to grow in proportion to its population. But the government has grown beyond population, beyond our income levels, and it really was exploding to a place that wasn't sustainable. We're back now to about an $83 billion budget. Now consider that that came down from when I came to the legislature, almost a high of $114 billion.
But was that $114 billion inflated to the point that it was too much based upon population growth and inflation and demographic trends?
Oh, absolutely. We saw almost a 40% growth in government over the course of 5 years. And that is what? That is an incredible amount of growth beyond the 1 or 2% growth in population we were seeing. So you're seeing this massive amounts of growth. You're not seeing large population growth. So in theory, services should be increasing, but at a much, much more moderate pace.
That being said, massive budget cuts, as you mentioned, and most of them targeted toward these, as we call them, social welfare programs.
Right.
Health insurance, elder care, programs like that.
Right.
A lot of people feel as if the most vulnerable were the ones that were most targeted. What's your sense?
Well, that's absolutely the case, but the reason is fairly straightforward. Government doesn't provide handouts to people who have wealth, who have money. People who don't have needs don't come looking to the government for assistance. It's only the people who are struggling at the bottom to make ends meet, who are looking desperately to get some help trying to recover from bad economic times or poor decisions or tragedies that occurred in their life. They're the ones who get the help from the state, and unfortunately when the state goes under and we have problems, they're the first on the line.
But so what do we do with these people now? I mean, yes, they're the neediest, but some of them I believe will fall off the cliff.
Absolutely. I think that it really needs to be a more nuanced approach. Not only does government have a role to play in trying to provide a basic social safety net, but we need to appeal to our families and our churches to really step up and do their part as well. The reality is government cannot be the single source of compassion or charity. We have to have our churches, we have to have our families actively participating in this process hand in hand.
No doubt about that. Yet, our families are suffering, our churches are suffering. I mean, the churches get money from families who can't donate.
Right.
There's no easy answer.
No, there really isn't. And the reality is too, Brad, is that we live in a time right now that we haven't seen in almost a century in America. And these down times mean that we are really going to have to rise to the challenge and do things that are very, very difficult, and there aren't easy answers.
Do you feel as if that because of what's gone on in the last year or two in California, that just the whole face of California has changed? We're not the Golden State, but not even we didn't even get the bronze medal anymore. Well, you know what I'm saying? To kill a cliche.
The state has certainly seen more than its fair share of challenges, but I am absolutely convinced that the state will rise ultimately to a level of greatness again and really help lead the nation.
When?
I think we're only about 5 years away from really being back on our feet, fully productive again, and absolutely engaged and making a difference throughout the world.
When will it start to get better? Not, 5 years, but
sure. I think if you're looking at incrementally, I think we're probably only about 6 months away from seeing a legitimate upturn in the economy, and I'm really optimistic.
Great. Anthony Adams, thanks for joining us. Please come back.
My pleasure.
You bet. For Charter's Local Edition, I'm Brad Pomerance. Now we'll send you back to CNN Headline News.
Hi everybody, it's Peter Dills, host of The Chef Knows, getting ready to go on the road again. I have an invitation for you to join me on Charter Communications Video on Demand. I explore the very best in food and drink that Southern California has to offer. You'll discover in each program a variety of different restaurants to fit everyone's budget, and even get tips on tipping. Plus, you'll never know who we're going to run into when you watch The Chef Knows. So join me on Charter Communications Video on Demand for a wining and dining restaurant experience.